We are pleased to share this video of NDAREC's 2025 Work Plan and Budget. I'll be referencing page numbers from the budget book PDF emailed along with this presentation for those following along. The budget process begins with the work plan, which establishes the NDAREC Program of Action for 2025. This budget shows the revenues earned and the expenses incurred in accomplishing that program of action. The work plan is detailed under tab 1, pages 1 through 10. The 2025 budget calls for a 9.06% increase in NDAREC dues, a 9.8% increase in apprenticeship training and safety dues, and an increased North Dakota Living subscription rate of 10 cents. The 2025 budget includes a 4.7% increase to overall compensation. This is made up of a 3.5% pool of funds for merit increases, with additional funds to get employees below market to market rates over a 3-year period, as determined by the compensation study completed by NRECA in 2023. The 2025 budget requests more funds than last year for equipment replacement. More employee computers needed to be replaced to keep with typical replacement schedules, along with other IT-related items that need to be replaced or upgraded. Safety Services is also replacing one of their training mannequins and hopes to purchase a digital voltage indicator for training purposes. NDAREC received a 3-year property tax exemption on just the increased value of the building. That exemption expires in 2025, resulting in an increase to real estate taxes again for 2025 after the increase last year due to the first year of the LTC building value was assessed. NDAREC will offer a new 3-phase training certification program series. The 3 week-long sessions for staking engineers was requested from NDAREC members. 2 of the phases will be offered in 2025, and the final phase will be offered in 2026. As mentioned earlier, the budget reflects a decrease in North Dakota Living magazine subscribers, leading to an increase in the subscription fee by 10 cents to $1.05. With fewer subscriptions, the fixed costs are spread across a smaller number of magazines. As discussed by the North Dakota Living Study Committee, fixed costs account for just over half of the total production costs. The budget numbers are on page 12 of the 2025 Work Plan and Budget booklet, with the first 12 expenses lettered A through L. These expenses are common to all service areas of statewide. The general method of allocating common expenses is based on the percentage of time each employee of statewide spends in that service area. The first expense item, A, is payroll. Since we are a service organization, payroll is our largest expense. NDAREC also has various administrative contracts with related organizations that help cover a portion of the cost of payroll, taxes, and benefits. Those administrative contracts include an agreement with the NDAREC Benefit Trust, reported under the Finance and Operations budget for the time statewide employees spend on trust activities. There are additional administrative contracts under the Rural Development budget, which includes rural development staff along with other statewide employees who also perform work for Rural Development Finance Corporation, the financing arm of our rural development services, and the NDAREC Foundation, the fundraising arm of rural development. The next largest expense and related to payroll is the cost of payroll taxes and benefits. NDAREC offers employees the RS plan, a 401k plan, health and vision insurance, an HSA account, both short and long-term disability, life insurance, and supplemental accidental death and dismemberment policy. Funds received on the administrative contracts also help to cover a portion of these costs. We are happy to report that 2025 will not see increases in the premiums for health insurance due to the success of the NDAREC Benefit Trust. The contribution rate for the RS plan will also not be increasing. However, since the RS contribution rate is a percentage of employees' salaries, the total cost of the RS plan included in the budget is increasing. Other significant changes from 2025 in the common expenses includes an increase in employee education and training and travel costs to accommodate for the travel related to the employee trainings. In the 2025 budget, you'll see a one-time cost under equipment maintenance of $5,000 to move NDAREC's website to the new Shine platform offered by Touchstone Energy Cooperatives. The final 2 common expenses are depreciation and building costs, which need some additional explanation to understand. Depreciation per the budget is the amount of funds needed for planned fixed asset purchases in 2025. This includes funds for equipment such as computers, camera equipment, and other office furniture. It also includes the funds for vehicles and building needs. The detail of the funds requested can be found on tab 10 or pages 37 and 38 of the budget book. Building costs are associated with occupying the buildings, net of the rent revenues collected. These costs are then allocated based upon the percentage of labor costs to each service area. The revenues and expenses for this service area can be found in tab 9 or page 35. Rent is collected from Bismarck State College, or BSC, for their use of the Line Worker Training Center, Quonset building, and adjoining land to provide the line worker school training. The lease with BSC was for 10 years, expiring in 2034, and includes a 1% annual increase to the lease payment. BSC is responsible for the janitorial services of the LTC building and helping with the increased costs for utilities. NDAREC and BSC recently met where BSC agreed to help cover more of the utility costs for the building. The discussion regarding real estate taxes is still ongoing with BSC. Additional rent is collected from Broadband Association of North Dakota and the NDAREC Benefit Trust. The largest expense increase for the building and grounds service area is for real estate taxes, as I mentioned earlier. Now we will start to look at the highlights for each of the service areas, starting with Finance and Operations, found in tab 3 or page 17. Finance and Operations is where the funds received on the administrative contract with the NDAREC Benefit Trust are recorded, as noted on the Contract Services revenue line. These funds are then used to help offset the cost of payroll, taxes, and benefits recorded to this service area. NDAREC is expected to be over budget on interest income for 2024, and so even with the recent decrease in interest rates, the expectation for 2025 is that interest income will be higher than budgeted in 2024. Tab 4, page 19, is the Communications and Government Relations budget. Under Expenses, Item 3, Advertising and Public Relations is decreasing due to the cost of conducting the Public Opinion Survey, which is only conducted in even years. Line 6 reflects the odd year when the legislature is in session and a legislative banquet is held during the annual meeting. A portion of these costs is billed back to the membership and is reflected in miscellaneous income in Item 2. Tab 5, page 21, is the budget for Rural Development Services. We were again awarded the Federal Rural Cooperative Development Grant of $200,000. Contracted services of $290,600 is decreasing to reflect actual time spent on these various contracts. When preparing the 2024 budget, the Rural Development team and Finance were still trying to get an understanding of the 3 new grants awarded to rural development activities, and thus the 2024 budget was an estimate of the time each grant would take. Now that a full year's worth of data is available on time spent, the estimate for 2025 time on these grants is more accurate. Lines 7 and 8 include the payroll-related costs for the administrative contracts with the Foundation and the State Board of Ag Research and Education. Payroll costs are higher for 2025 in this service area due to the new grants and the additional time needed by the General Manager and the Finance Director to administer the grants. Tab 6, page 23, is the recommended budget for publication services. The 2025 budget will see an increase in the number of pages of the magazine from 40 pages to 44 pages. This is due to a new change of the magazine cover, which will allow for more co-op personalization, a recommendation that came out of the North Dakota Living Study Committee. This change comes with a slight increase in costs the committee members believed was worth the benefit of member awareness. Ad revenues are projected to increase slightly from 2024. Line 2, subscription income, reflects a shift in circulation from mailing 81,500 magazines for 6 months and 106,500 magazines for the other 6 months to a consistent 81,500 magazines mailed each month throughout the year. This change results in an approximately 150,000 fewer magazines being mailed annually compared to previous years. Therefore, the subscription price will increase from 95 cents per issue to $1.05 per issue, following 2 years without a price adjustment. Paper and printing prices are expected to remain stable, but unfortunately, postage costs are again expected to increase. The Postal Regulatory Commission has the authority to set rates twice yearly and has done so for the last few years, but is only expected to raise rates once in 2025, but at a rate still equal to 2 increases. The 2025 budget includes an 8.3% postage increase expected in July. Tab 7, page 27, is the Safety Services budget. Under revenues, member dues are increasing by $81,000. Training materials and supplies are increasing due to offering defensive driving training in 2025, offered in odd years. The cost of the defensive driving materials from the North Dakota Safety Council continues to increase. Since we need to train all employees in the state, this ends up being a large cost. In addition, since this service area has the largest payroll cost at NDAREC, it receives a larger share of the increased depreciation costs from the 2025 budget. 2025 budget does not reflect any revenues or expenses for the Digger Derrick and Crane certification and recertification program due to still being in the early planning stages. The expectation is that we will begin offering this program in 2025 on a registration fee basis, which will be enough to cover the expected costs and will not affect dues for 2025. Tab 8, page 31, is the Education and Member Services budget. Item 2 is the projected income at $130,840 for the prepaid education plan, engineering and operations webinar package, and the finance and accounting webinar package. After 2 years with no increase, the prepaid education plan fee will be increased from $8,620 to $9,120, a slight increase of $500. This increase provides added value with a new 5-program webinar series on electric system fundamentals. The cost for attending training for those not purchasing the prepaid plan will increase from $495 to $595 per person for in-person training and $150 to $240 per person for webinars. Line 3, meeting and conference registration fees include walk-ins, registration fees from one Cooperative Connection Orientation Program, registration fees from the NRECA Supervisor and Manager Development Program, and new this year, registration fees for a Staking Technician Certification Program. The Staking Technician Program has 3 phases, with the first 2 offered in 2025 and the last in 2026. Costs associated with Line 3 revenues are found in Line 10 of expenses. In 2025, NDAREC will focus more on the Associate Member Program with a goal of increasing the number of Associate Members, thus the increase to Line 4. The youth tour costs are expected to increase in 2025 due to general increase in costs and based upon costs incurred during the 2024 youth tour. Each co-op plans to send 1 student and thus the expected revenues from the youth tour are down from 2024, but the cost per co-op is expected to go up from 2024. In the top left corner of the first page is the total statewide dues of $2,074,705. This is what is needed for a break-even budget. That number comes forward from the summary schedule on page 11. The statistics used in the allocation of dues carries forward from tab 11, page 39. The statistical information uses a 3-year average for each data point rather than just a single year. We then apply the formula of a 20% flat fee, 40% on average members and meters, 20% average megawatt hour sales, and 20% average revenue less purchase power. The yellow highlighted column shows the results of that calculation. The 2025 budget does not use reserves to bring down the dues. The dues formula includes a cap of 15% so that no one member pays more than 15% of the total dues. This cap is in place to ensure the association is not too reliant upon one member for dues. The green highlighted column is the result after applying the dues cap, which resulted in $28,794 being reallocated to the other co-ops. The percent of dues paid to the total is also shown, as well as the comparison to the 2024 dues calculation. The total increase in dues assessed is $172,315. Page 49 is the calculation of the AT&S dues, which are based on a 20% flat fee, 60% number of full-time line workers, and 20% number of other full-time employees. Those co-ops having 2 stops with each safety meeting pay an additional $1,750 per year for those 2 locations. The final dues number is shown in the yellow highlighted column. The overall AT&S dues assessment is an increase of $81,129 from 2024. Page 50 is the combined dues schedule compared to the previous year. This is also a good place to explain how G&T cooperative dues are calculated. G&T members are assessed a 10% total voting membership dues and then allocated to each G&T member as follows. A flat fee of $10,000 for each, and the remaining being allocated based on each cooperative's installed capacity owned or under purchase power contracts in North Dakota. Combined total dues assessed to our 5 G&T members is $230,523. We hope this presentation of the 2025 budget has helped with your understanding of the budget along with the general budgeting process. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.